and we went back and forth on it so many times. So this was truly a battle of giants in Africa. And like we said, one of the hardest decisions we ever have to make.
Right.
Shalom, YouTube family. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome to the family.
In today's video, we'll be giving you 7 differences between South Africa and Kenya and letting you guys know which one we like best.
Also on this channel, we'll be traveling throughout the continent to show you the real Africa.
So if you like this type of content, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Let's get into it. So the first thing we're gonna talk about is the scenery. So we're gonna go ahead and start with Kenya since we're in Kenya. So to begin with, say in Diani, Mombasa, the beaches were amazing. They were
Seriously.
so beautiful. And we've seen a lot of beaches, so those were like at the top of the list. And just the greenery, the nature surrounding it, even driving through the city, there was still a lot of greenery. It was really amazing. Very beautiful, natural things.
Yeah.
In South Africa, when we were in Cape Town, we saw a lot of amazing things as well. Like Table Mountain was just
extraordinary.
Awesome. And it was amazing how you could literally see the mountain from like everywhere you drive out there. You see this amazing view. And then just being able to go to Cape Point, being at the southernmost like tip of Africa, that was amazing. It was really nice.
Also going to places like the Botanical Gardens in South Africa, seeing the waterfall, which was our first waterfall, was extraordinary, guys. So now let's get into the cities and let's start with South Africa. Now we stayed in Johannesburg, probably most of the time we were in South Africa, and places like Sandton is very developed, luxurious, just everything is modern about that place. Now when you get into Johannesburg, it's a little bit older, but still very nice, has its own architectures, history and culture behind it. It's a beautiful city. Now when you look at Kenya, we were in Nairobi, so I feel like that's a great comparison. In Nairobi, also the city is very modern, skyscrapers everywhere, very clean and organized. And I would say that both cities are very great when it comes to just comparing to other cities that we've been to on the continent. They're next level for real. And then you get into the roads. Both are very up to date, modern. They look like anywhere that you would go in the West and drive around. It's highways, toll roads, and pretty much just easy to travel anywhere around the countries. So I would say in both of those countries, they're very modern and up to date.
The next thing we're gonna talk about is safety. So as you guys know, South Africa does have a higher crime rate than Kenya. We discussed this in our South Africa video. We specifically made a video about that because people kept coming in our comments saying, but what about the crime? Because we weren't saying those things, but obviously we weren't saying it because we weren't experiencing it. But as you guys know, there is a difference, and these are some statistics for you. So the crime index for Kenya is 56.73, and for South Africa, it's 75.56. So Kenya is safer than South Africa. There is a higher rate of crime in South Africa. But for us, the way that we felt safe in both places. We walked places in both places. We went to eat the other day and we walked to the mall after. We walked back and forth to the grocery store and to get food in South Africa. So we did not experience any crime personally or see anything that made us feel unsafe.
Yeah, the thing is, it's all about how you carry yourself and how you move here. Just keep your head on a swivel, always be aware of your surroundings. And for us, we just keep our faith in the Most High, so we really don't worry about things like that. So I would say that's for crime in both places is not a huge issue for us.
The next thing that we're gonna talk about that we know you guys care about so much is cost of living. We're gonna start with housing. So obviously you guys know we typically stay in an Airbnb. You know, if we decide to move, then that'll be different. But right now we're doing Airbnb. So in South Africa for a month, we spent about 600 USD. But for a very nice place, very comfortable, all the amenities, things that you need. In Kenya, we've spent about 800 a month, but still very nice, up-to-date, modern, all the amenities you need. So obviously for housing, Kenya is more expensive.
Also, when you look at getting a bang for your buck, in South Africa, you probably get a little bit more for cheaper. So that's a huge indicator that cost of living is a little bit cheaper when it comes to housing. Now, as far as renting places, We looked to rent in both places, and it still showed that South Africa, for what you're getting for your money, is a little bit better and cheaper. So that's that. The next thing we want to get into is the food. Now, which might be surprising to you guys, because South Africa is considered to be one of the most modern places on the continent, is actually cheaper when it comes to food. Now, we went to the grocery stores, the fruits, vegetables, and
we went to the fancy grocery store.
it was actually a little bit cheaper than it is right here in Kenya.
Right.
When you look at the restaurants, same thing for that. The food is just a little bit cheaper overall. Now, I would say the only thing that Kenya is a little bit cheaper in would be like rides for like Ubers and boats like that. The cost is just a little bit cheaper, but other than that, that's about it.
The next thing we're going to talk about is the weather. Now, you guys know that we have had winter in both places. So when we were in South Africa, everyone was saying, we were so wrong, we came in winter, we messed up. So
it's fair.
It is cold in both places. Right now in Nairobi, it is cold. We have the window open. It's very cold over there. In South Africa, we was blanket on blanket on blanket. We needed a gas heater. So I would say that the weather is a little bit better in Nairobi, saying that they're both in wintertime. Nairobi is warmer. It's more comfortable. It's still cold. Like at night, it could be pretty chilly, but it is more comfortable. It was freezing in South Africa. Like we would wake up and be like shivering. It was cold.
Actually, after we left South Africa, it started to snow and was very cold. So I'm glad we got out of there before that happened, because we did not have the proper heating for that.
No.
And then when you look at other cities within these countries, I know it's warmer in Durban, and people saying go there during the winter because it's always warm. And same here when you're going to places like Mombasa,
it was very warm.
It's pretty much always warm there. But overall, I will say it's warmer in Kenya, and we like warm weather, not the cold. So that's that.
The next thing we're going to talk about is the food. So let's start with local food. So in Kenya, they had very good things like the fish, which was very fresh. They have very good greens, and they make greens with a lot of things, which I like because it's healthy. They use a lot less seasoning, but the food still tastes really good. It's more about the fresh vegetables and stuff, giving it flavor more so than like seasoning, like sprinkling stuff on it. Chapatis, I love chapati. They're so good. They just had a lot of good things. We had like coconut beans, which was very new for me, very delicious. We've had some local Kenyan tea, just really good stuff. And then in South Africa, we had like the Kotas, the Koo sisters. What's the street food thing? I don't even remember what it was called, honestly. But we had a lot of good things that tasted really, really good. So it's kind of hard to say, but they both had a lot of good options.
And then let's look at the international food now. So we eat a variety of different foods anywhere we go. And some of the main things like Indian food, Italian food, Asian foods are some of the things that we absolutely love. And in both places, they have them in abundance and is authentic.
Right.
Probably because the culture here is and both places are diverse, and a lot of people have moved here from these different countries. So you get that authentic taste and feel. So I would say overall, both places have great food in general.
So as for grocery stores, in Kenya, they have so many things. We discussed this before. We didn't really miss out on anything. Like when it came to meat, they have all the different cuts of, chicken, beef. You can get steaks and stuff, because we didn't really see like steak, stuff like that in like Tanzania per se. But like, it has everything here in Kenya. There's a lot of like herbs too. I like to get like herbal tea and stuff. There's a lot of like healthy things too that you can find right in the grocery store, which I really like. And honestly, it's really the same in South Africa. The last part of the food topic, I would say, is health, because that is a big thing. So I would say, we do tasting videos where we taste stuff just for you guys. So it might not be the healthiest stuff, but as for overall eating and the food that we buy and stuff from the grocery store, I would say things are healthier in Kenya. And the reason why I would say this is because I have allergies, and you guys kept saying how in South Africa I sounded congested. I was congested, but it has a lot to do with the food. Like when we left Tanzania and went back to America, my sinuses closed up. It got back bad. We left, we went to Tanzania, and then we were in Kenya, and it cleared up. We went to South Africa and it came back, and now we're back in Kenya and I can breathe through my nose again. So yeah.
So now for me, it's a little bit different, and it's specifically when eating out in both of these places. Now, when I was in South Africa, my stomach was pretty much regulated. I didn't have a lot of issues. Now, one time I did get diarrhea, but that's probably from like drinking or something like that, having a drink or something like that. But overall, not too bad. Now, eating out here is an entirely different story. Since I've been specifically in Nairobi, I've had the BGs, the bubble guts, diarrhea,
chronic bubble guts.
Like, I just can't get, like one day I'll be good, the next day it just hit me right again. And it's usually after we eat out, whether it's fried chicken or whatever.
So next we're gonna talk about conveniences. So the first thing is power. So you guys pretty much know who's gonna win on this one. So obviously South Africa has power outages, load shedding, they like to call it. I do think that they do a good job with it for the simple fact that there's an app that tells you when, so you can schedule your life around it.
Yeah.
We have had the electricity go off in Kenya as well. Probably like 3 times, like twice for like a minute, 2 minutes, and then once it was like a few hours. It was like a few hours.
It wasn't nothing too bad.
It wasn't too bad, but it was more inconvenient because we didn't expect it. Yeah. I do feel like knowing that it's coming in South Africa is way more useful, because then it doesn't stop you from doing anything. Right. When you don't know what's happening, it's a surprise and it stops you from doing whatever you're doing. But obviously having the power more stable in Kenya is better. Yeah. Then there's the internet. So I would say, since we've been in Airbnbs, obviously most Airbnbs have Wi-Fi for you, or we get ones that do. So the Wi-Fi has typically been good in both places. The internet being good or bad kind of more so is with the phones, like cellular data. Yeah. We have Airtel in Kenya, and we had MTN in South Africa. Right. And MTN would randomly not work. Like, we could be at the grocery store up the street from where we live, where it works, and it would just not work. We had to walk home. The first time we ever walked, we knew we could walk, but the first time we ever walked is because we had to. Because the internet would not work.
And I don't know if they're just MTN. But
right, it might just be MTN, but we didn't have that problem here.
Now, let's talk about delivery and getting things delivered. So both places have a lot of delivery options, especially like when it comes to food. Kenya have things like Glovo, Uber Eats, and just many other things that just make it easy for you to get your groceries and stuff delivered here. South Africa also have Uber and other apps that they use. So I would say in that aspect is very similar, and it's very convenient if you just don't want to leave the house.
I would say for grocery delivery, it seems like there's more options of how to do it in South Africa, because more of the grocery stores deliver from the grocery store. But in Kenya, it's more so you're getting it from a delivery service. So
yeah, and then when you look at imported items, like electronics, for example, we went to an electronics store in South Africa, and they pretty much had everything that we needed. You know, we do YouTube, so we need certain things. And I feel like they have a lot more when it comes to electronics, but this place isn't lacking either.
So the last thing we're gonna discuss is entertainment. So I'm gonna go ahead and talk about nature. There were so many beautiful things in both places. Like, I honestly feel like in South Africa, we had like once in a lifetime experiences. Like, I ain't never been on top of a mountain before. That was awesome.
The waterfall.
The waterfall, that was awesome. Like, being at the tip of Africa, that was awesome. Seeing those penguins was awesome. Incredible. But then also in Kenya, you know, going to the giraffe thing. I'd never done that before. That was amazing. Just the beach in Diani was amazing, and we had so many first experiences there. The jet ski we rode, never did that before. The first time we ever rode on a camel. And then the views were just amazing. Like, there's so many natural things in both places. We still want to do like safari and stuff, game drive, whatever. We haven't had a chance to do that yet, but I think we can do that in both places. So it's really a hard one. It's like they're like right there because there is so much natural beauty in both places.
Also, when you look at the malls, now we love malls. I know everybody don't shop there, but for us, both places have really great malls. Now, when you look at entertainment inside the malls, both malls are great. But I feel like Kenya, you can do a little bit more. Like, I think we did bowling, we did golf, we did the virtual reality. They got go-karts, like all type of stuff at these malls.
There's like a whole amusement park outside of the mall. So yeah.
Now, what sets South Africa, the malls in South Africa apart is just the sheer luxury of the malls. Like the finishes, it looked like any mall that you would see in America or anywhere, you know, even better. Like, those malls are top of the line, like seriously. So
although you get lost, so bring us back.
But I don't think there's any malls that compares on in that aspect to South Africa. And then overall, when you look at the entertainment, both places have so much to do. Like, I don't think you can run out of things that you can do because the countries are so big. So they're both great. Seriously, guys. And
there's a lot of hidden gems in both as well that you can go see, things that, you know, people don't typically see. So it's really hard to choose.
So now, guys, it's the moment of truth that everybody's been waiting for. Who wins? Now, before we get into it, let me preface this. This was the absolute hardest decision we ever had to make.
We don't actually agree.
Right, and we went back and forth on it so many times. So this was truly a battle of giants in Africa. And like we said, one of the hardest decisions we ever have to make. But my answer, I'm gonna start with mine. So if I had to choose, it's gonna be based off which country, you know, I ain't gonna say feel most at home at, but that I just kind of like a little bit more and it's best for my lifestyle, and that would be South Africa. Now, this was a toss-up for me, literally, guys. Like, it could win any way on any day, but today, I feel like South Africa is just won by like literally a hair. Guys, literally a hair.
A thick hair or a thin hair?
A thin hair. So that's my opinion, and let's give hers.
Okay, so my choice is based upon where I feel comfortable and where I could see myself living. And I know you guys are not gonna like my answer, but I would say that it is a tie. Right. If my husband said, we're gonna stay in Kenya, I'd be like, yay, we're gonna stay in Kenya. And if he was gonna say, we're gonna stay in South Africa, I would say, yay, we're gonna stay in South Africa. Because honestly, I see so much good in both. That I wouldn't be like, oh my God, we're going there. You know what I'm saying? With either one. Like, I wouldn't have any pushback for either.
But both places are extraordinary.
They
so
are.
if we had to pick a winner, by default, it would have to be South Africa.
He says by default, because if I chose both, then either I give both of them 0 points or I give each one of them 1 point.
Then I give one a point. And so that means South Africa wins, guys, on this video. So just drop a comment and let us know what you guys think about this video, and you know, if we were wrong about anything. So thank you for watching this all the way through. Families, want to say we love you, and as always, shalom.
Shalom.